Hi, this is Weekly Reflections, and I'm Nancy Joy. Whew. Aren't you breathing this huge sigh of relief that the U.S. presidential elections are over? It doesn't matter who you supported, what you were for, what you weren't. What was going on was such an example of polarized duality, which politics often is, so divisive and so negative. And the focus on everything that was wrong. Just think of how we know our thoughts, our feelings create our reality. So just think what was being created, maybe on purpose, in my belief system, in the collective unconscious anyway. So as it dropped away, not that there isn't still stuff going on, but that intensity, that constant phone calls, barrage of ads every time you open your mail. I'm thinking of the poor trees out there, and all the money that was spent. Now, on the one hand, you can say it's the American system, but I hate to think that the American system is one that thrives on fundamentalism, polarity, and pointing the finger. It's not my vision of the America that I live in anyway. So this brings me to a quote that I get reports from a great astrologer named Ogren on the new moon, full moon, equinox, etc. And one of the things she wrote in there a while back that I saved because it struck me, and now is the greatest time to share. Here it is. But we can learn to risk letting go of our own rigid views, boundaries, and even ideals, to risk opening our hearts more so that we can listen and be comfortable with our differences. By ruling our responses, staying centered, we create shifts for everyone. So I definitely think that's true. And that's definitely not so much what goes on during a U.S. presidential election. Recently, Jon Rappaport, who I like, those of you who follow me know that, wrote a column right after the election, and he said something very interesting. He said he felt people were not necessarily voting for the man and what each man had actually done and accomplished and created, but rather they were voting for the ideal that each of those men represented. And he worded it as, and you can word it any way you want, but he worded it as the conservatives, the Romney people, were wanting the idealism of freedom. And the Obama people wanted the idealism of compassion. And, to my way of thinking, those two things are not in conflict. In fact, you almost can't have one without the other. And yet here we are totally polarized in our, quote, points of view. And, Ezekiel said long ago, whenever you say the words, I know, it shuts down a section in your mind and puts a huge padlock on it. No more information coming in. Don't want any more. Well, you're limiting your belief. There was a time we thought the world was flat. There was a time we thought man can't fly. There was a time we didn't realize God lives inside of us, not out there somewhere. And so if you become rigid in any kind of thinking, you stop growing and you stop expanding and you stop awakening, and you stop becoming conscious. And we all are rigid to some ways. And, the most divisive things occur, like they're arguing over gay marriage and abortion. Everybody has their own opinion on them. But those things aren't going to be running our country. What's going to run our country is to create laws and ways for people to come together and work together to create a new reality. So I think that's what we're moving into. Did you know it is true that there is no more than 6 degrees of separation between you and any other human being on earth? That's a fact. That means you know someone who knows someone who knows someone to the 6th. And within that framework of 6 knowings, you are connected to every single soul on this earth. Therefore, you are energetically connected, closely energetically connected to the things you dislike the most, as well as the things you like. You're connected to the 2008 bankers involved in the mortgage fraud, let's say. You're connected to a gay couple wanting to be married. You're connected to the woman trying to decide what to do with the baby inside of her. You're connected to the Queen of England, you know, and you're connected to the beggar on the street in India, let's say, anywhere in the world. So we know this, we're all connected, but the 6 degrees puts it into a package that you can really begin to feel and understand. So fortunately, we are all connected. And so the beautiful thing, actually, one of the many beautiful things I've seen growing out of this divisive polarity, the election, and then, of course, intermingled with the election in the United States was the devastation on the East Coast from Hurricane Sandy. And I don't know, I followed it closely because, as you know, I was there. My last week's reflection was about it. And the response, the government response, has been extremely weak. FEMA and the Red Cross, not just government, Red Cross, things that you expect to come in a crisis, have not stepped in to a large extent. They are not visible in the most hard-hit places like Staten Island, like Coney Island, like Rockaway, like the Jersey Shore. And so what has happened, though, is that people from all polls in this election, whether you were conservative or a liberal or Republican, Democrat, whatever, have come together through different organizations, grassroots organizations, that are organizing and bringing the things that need to be brought to these people who still have no heat, no electricity, no way to get diapers, no way to get water, elderly, disabled infants, all of them there. You know, you forget the range of this. And yet, if you go in and watch some of the videos on the internet of who's helping and how they're helping, you'll feel good inside. For example, bicyclists, groups of bicyclists, because there's no gas, they're loading up their backpacks and their saddlebags and everything they can, bringing supplies over the Queensboro Bridge to where they're needed, one right after another, right after another. Bicycles everywhere. Bicycles are being used everywhere because you can't get gas, and this is a wonderful thing. The Occupy Wall Street organizers are now occupying churches and places and have a whole system in place where you drop off your goods, how they get them to where they're needed, and people are coming in droves there to be helped. Because and maybe it's a good thing, no FEMA, no Red Cross, maybe this is a good thing. Because look what's happening. It's just heartening. We need more help. They need more help. But look how people are coming together from the divisiveness. Didn't matter who anybody voted for. Nobody cared. Nobody cared at all. What mattered was what was going on there. And so this is creating the new reality. This, to me, is really, really exciting. And so here's what I would say when you become fundamentally blocked in what you feel and you express it, can you go into stillness and allow someone else to express what they feel without allowing it to polarize you into a dualistic thing where I'm against them? It's not true. You have a feeling, they have a feeling. If you can bring these feelings together and work together, you can create what's so wonderful. Again, it's like the opposites, polar opposites, that when they come together, they create integration, they create a charge. And this is what we have the opportunity to do, but you can't do it if you're stuck in any single belief system. It's time to crack open your hearts, folks. It's time to listen to everyone. It's time to believe whatever it is you believe, but with all your heart. Stay open and expand, because this is the energy and action that's cleansing and creating. So take a look at your life. Start within you. Look at a place where you're polarized with a friend, with a relative, with a child, and open that doorway. Really listen to them. Don't try to make your point of view. Really listen, and then find the common place to create something new in the relationship. Take that first step. If it doesn't happen there in your life, how is it going to spread across the world? Have a great week. Have fun thinking of this. Check out the exciting new UK Crop Circle trip. Heartlights is doing in August. I hope some of you will come on board in the Dolphins again in the beginning of May. And we'll talk to you next week. Have a great week. Bye-bye.